I want to introduce you to a brand that I'm working with called Dizzo. They offer dissolvable supplement strips, which means the vitamins are absorbed 4 times more than tablets and capsules. So these are perfect if you want quicker results or maybe you can't take tablets. You guys know that I only work with brands that I love. I am personally using their B12 strips and their energy strip. As a business owner, I get tired. So I kind of need that boost every day, and these are definitely helping with my energy levels. I'm also taking their multivitamin strips, which taste lovely. Go and check out their website in the show notes. Go and order yours and let me know what you think. Welcome to the Life of KG, your ultimate destination for all things motivation and business insights. Join me, Katie Godfrey, serial entrepreneur and the brains behind the KG brand. Along the way, we'll welcome inspiring guests and share invaluable business tips to fuel your growth journey. Don't miss out. Hit that subscribe button and leave us a review. With that said, let's dive into the world of success together. Hey everyone, welcome back to A Life of KG. So a little bit different this episode today. I'm doing a solo episode, but I also, you might have seen on socials, was reaching out for your help on this because I want to do some solo episodes which are helping you guys out more. So as business owners, one, it can be extremely lonely, but secondly, we don't really have that person to bounce off on if something was to happen. So for example, if you got a 1-star review, you didn't know how to reply to it, or if you had a really difficult client that you wish you could sack and you don't know how to do that, or if you had a complaint come through on email, what would you respond, or was you right in responding that way? Or do you have a difficult staff member and they're causing ag in the business and you don't know how to deal with that? Literally any issues that you've had in the past or you're having currently, I'd love you to send them into my Instagram account. And then I can read them out here and we can hash out what I would do in that situation. But also for you guys to let me know what you would do in that situation too, because I'm not always right. Everyone is entitled to their opinions. Everyone does business differently. So I'm doing it to help you, but I'd also love you guys to help the other people that are also inquiring and send your views on what you would do on this situation too. I hope that makes sense. So some people have sent in their dilemmas that they've had, which I'm going to be reading through to then give my advice back. Some people want to stay confidential, so I'll make up names. Some people want a shout out. So again, if you want to send in your stuff, it's completely up to you. If you want to stay confidential or if you want to shout out on socials, then we will do that for you. So let's get going. So first of all, I had someone contact me that one of their clients brought them a voucher, and then the salon owner's husband passed away. Tragic. So what she done is she stopped doing treatments for a little while and she gave everyone a refund that brought a voucher. So then she didn't have to worry about it. A client has come back to her and said that did so-and-so use the voucher that I purchased because she basically wants to use it. Let me see if I've got the message here. I'm not going to read them all, otherwise I'll be here for a while, but I'll just give you a recap. So the message is, do you remember the voucher I brought you a long time ago? Is it still valid? Did my friend ever contact you to use it? So the client wants to basically get the voucher back if it hasn't been claimed and use it for herself over a year later. So this salon owner has gone to her and said, no, she hasn't used it yet, and let her use it. And then the client is then going to use it a couple of months later. So it's really prolonged. But this salon owner has come to me and like, what would you do in this situation? I haven't dealt with it right. The client that purchased it is a client of mine, but doesn't come regular. And she was also my next door neighbour when my husband died. So I think she was feeling a little bit awkward on what to do on this situation. Now, let's talk about gift vouchers then, because if someone buys a gift voucher, you need to make sure that there's an expiry date. So the one thing amazingly that this client did do is she has given everyone a refund that had brought gift vouchers. which is fabulous for those that did want it, but it just makes it more messy and when you have to give back the money. Obviously, she had to think of her feet on this as her husband passed away. But what I would do is always make sure that there is expiry dates and you always stick to them expiry dates. If something happens, like the passing of the husband, you could then extend the expiry dates. So I would extend them. So you could have done it, so extend them for another 6 months. So it'd be valid for 12 months instead of 6 months, for example. So that's what I would do in that situation. I also would never let anyone take back a voucher that they've brought someone else. That's like asking someone for their Christmas gift back. Like, who does that? That's really random. Like, I would never buy a voucher for someone and then turn around and be like, did my friend use that voucher? Can I have that back? Like, oh my gosh, people are so cheeky, aren't they? So no, definitely do not give people back or let them use the vouchers that they brought for someone else. Random as hell. Definitely don't do that. So that's how I would deal with that situation if that ever happens to any of you guys. Okay, then we've got the next situation, which is one of my clients, Tina Jane _nails. You can find her on social. So if you've got any other situations that happens like this, you can go and give her some feedback. But basically, she had a 1-star review put on her Google account. And this review wasn't actually meant for her. So she rents space in a salon and it was actually for one of the other nail techs, not for Tina. So this review was left and it was under kind of like a fake profile. So she couldn't reach out to this client at all to take it down. Then what she found is she tried to contact Google and Google said they couldn't do anything about this review. So she's had to deal with the fact that there's a really bad review on her account and it wasn't even to do with her. I think lots of us might have been in a similar situation. A couple of years later, this client that left this review has now like changed the name and stuff on this profile. So obviously her Google account. So now it's actually showing who she is. So Tina was able to reach out to her and say, look, Google reviews can really damage the reputation of my business. I'm a small business, You've left this review for the wrong person. So this client has turned around to her and said that, didn't even know, her daughter must have done it and she hasn't still taken it down to this day. So what would you do about the situation? Now, I've actually got reviews. I think it was like Facebook. Everyone used to leave Facebook reviews, didn't they? And we used to get 1 stars. And I'd be like, why are they giving me 1 star? They're not even in this country or they haven't been to the salon before. And sometimes there's nothing you can do about it. And I did go through and reach out to everyone that left these reviews on my page to try and get them to take them down. And some did and some didn't, because sometimes people are just vile and they just do things to do things. I don't get it. People have way too much time on their hands. But I wouldn't have really done anything different, Tina, to be honest. I would have reached out to her when she changed the name. If she took it down, great. If not, there's not a lot you could do. You could reach out to her one more time and ask her to take it down again. But it depends if she does. And Google, just because the reviews are meant to be legit, that's why Google can't take them down, because if a review was legit, that someone was bad, then the public need to be able to see that. What I do when it comes to reviews is I will always reply, always. So on any reviews we've got that weren't meant for us, or the 1-star random reviews we used to get on Facebook, for example, we don't have any, thank God, on Google, but we would always reply to them and be like, hi, thanks for the review, even though it's 1 star. Thanks for the review. I see you've never been into the business before. I can't find your client card anywhere. Please let me know if you've got this information wrong. So then anyone that's reading it can then see that, okay, this review's a mistake. Everyone knows if you're going to look at restaurants, salons, anywhere where you look at the reviews, holiday places, hotels, there's going to be some bad reviews. And to be honest, it's only natural. It's just a pain in the bum when they're not actually meant for you. But if you reply to them, it's normally those that then turns the people's heads that are looking at maybe booking into that business. So when I look at reviews, I always look at the replies, because let's just switch this on the head. If it was a review that was a bad review and it was meant for that person, if they done a really good reply back, then it might be overlooked by the person that's potentially going to book into your business, because they'll be like, okay, well, she's got all of these really good 5-star reviews. She's got this one bad one that's put me off a little bit, but actually she's replied to it really well. So then they just dismiss it. So if most of your reviews are really good, you're normally all good. Like, you don't need to panic about the 1-star reviews that come in. I tell you what really gets me is when people give you a 4-star review. And I'm like, a 4-star review and a good comment, why can't you just give me a 5-star review? Like, I really hate that. Like, why do you have to be one of them people? We get it through. We've got the Forest booking app, the Forest system for our salon. And we have the reviews sent out to everyone every time they have an appointment with us. And if they leave a 4-star or above review, it then can go on to Google. So that works really well for our Google account. But I never understand when someone, I mean, I'm grateful for the review, but I never understand, like, why have you given us a 4-star review, a really good review, as in physically wrote the review as well, and there's nothing bad in there, but only given a 4-star. Cheers, mate. You could have given us a 5-star. But anyway, always reply to your reviews, because it will help when people are thinking about booking into your business. Let me get the next one up. So, okay, this is actually us, my salon. So I spoke to the girls yesterday and I was like, what drama have we had in the salon? Because we're very blessed. We don't get many complaints or anything. But we did launch airbrush brows a good few months ago now. And so we had models in. They got it at a very, very discounted rate while we done the models. And there was one client that come in and she had extremely fair hair and hardly no eyebrows. The therapist carried out the treatment and the client didn't like it as soon as she got up. She was like, they're too dark. So the therapist was like, that's okay, we'll lighten them, etc. And she did. And she lightened them as much as possible. And in her eyes, if they were any lighter, then they would have been non-existent. So that's all she could really do. That's what she done. Then we actually get a really long Google review. So she hasn't gone through our booking system. She's actually gone through Google and she's left a 3-star review. I'm actually going to read out the review. It's quite long, so bear with. But it's quite funny at the same time. Used the airbrush brow offer, but I'm so sorry to say I looked hysterically horrific. They were truly hideous, so much so that Marie had to remove as much of the colour as she could. I got the rest off when I got home. I was made aware that the colour would look darker for a couple of days. I chose the lightest colour and that it would settle down. My natural brows are thin and sparse, so I agreed that the airbrush brow would be a little bit wider. I honestly didn't know what to say when I first looked in the mirror. I looked like a cartoon character with a monobrow. I'm pretty sure my therapist didn't give her a monobrow, but hey. There was next to no space in between each brow, and the brow length and width were disproportionate to say the very least. I was going out for dinner that night and I couldn't have gone out looking like I did. I wouldn't even walk into the co-op. That's how monstrous I looked. Having that said, if Shrek had clapped eyes on me, he would have dumped Fiona on the spot. Anyway, after removing all trace of the airbrush colour, I reverted to my usual pencil routine and headed out for the evening. I'm not seeking a refund from you. I wanted to share my thoughts with you as your staff can learn from my experience and understand that one size doesn't fit all. So this review I actually find quite funny. She's put laughing faces in it because, you know, she found some of it quite funny, but obviously didn't like the end result of the eyebrows, which is fine. And I actually love that she is not nasty at all. So you will get some reviews that will help you learn and educate, and sometimes you've got to take them on the chin. What I didn't like about this is that you stuck it on Google rather than just writing me a message on email or DMs or however else. So in this situation, I reached out to the client by a text personally, and I received this on a Sunday. So I text her on a Sunday, and I don't want to read out all the messages, but I will read out the first one. So I said, I really appreciate you taking, oh no, I'm skipping ahead. This is what I said. I have just responded to your review on Google. I'm gutted you went to Google as it affects our whole rating as a business. We would have loved to hear your review experience privately. If you could take it down, I would appreciate. As a small business, things like this really affect our bookings. Regarding the airbrush brows, they're extremely dark when you leave the salon. I had mine done and felt the same, but you have to leave them on for 24 hours to develop. When you wash them off, it's completely different. Obviously, airbrush brows have evolved since this, but it's part of the process when they have to develop. Was you not told this, as I can go back to the team and manage clients' expectations when they leave? Thanks so much. I always do appreciate the feedback and want to improve, but can we do this privately? So that was my text. I'm not going to go back with all the text messages because we'll be here for a while. But my point is, when someone leaves a review, always go back to them and thank them for the review, even if it's bad. So that's what I done. Thank you so much for the review, but I would have appreciated it if you come and reached out to us privately. Also acknowledge the fact that my staff member might not have relayed back the expectations and how they should be. So then that would have been a learning curve for my staff member to do that. Obviously, she come back to me. She was completely fine. She even took the review down straight away, and we had a conversation in the texts about how to fix this. And she didn't want a refund at all. She just wanted to let me know. Basically, airbrush brows just not for this client. That's absolutely fine. Treatments aren't for everyone. Sometimes I find when people get reviews, they can get extremely defensive, and we have to, don't get me wrong, there's some people out there that leave some vile reviews, and if you've got any, please send them in because it'll just be funny to hash them out. But sometimes you just got to see what is the learning curve from this. Are they just wanting to tell me and they're maybe too worried to send me a message, so it's better going to Google for that layer of protection? I don't know. Always look a deeper meaning than what the review is. I always get told by my team, you are so good at complaints. Like, I'm so good at dealing with complaints and reviews. I don't know why. It's not like we get loads of complaints. I've just become a pro at it. I just like to, I'd say, nurture the client, look after the client, remember that their experience and stuff comes first. To them, the client's always right, and we will always come across like that. But also knowing the client isn't always right. Like, sometimes it comes down to education. When you're applying product, always giving them the step-by-step. This is what we're doing with this product. This is what this does, and giving them the lowdown. The consultation process, how is that going to be at the beginning? Manage their expectations. So when they do look in the mirror, they know what they're expecting. Or if they're not expecting what they're expecting when they've looked in the mirror, then making sure that you ease their thought process and stress how long they're going to look like this. A bit like permanent makeup brows. I got my brows done the other day, and she told me they're going to be looking harsh for a couple of days. I knew that before I got them done. I also knew that while I was getting them done because she told me. And then when I looked in the mirror and I was like, oh gosh, these are dark, she then managed my expectations again. So knowing then they're going to lighten before then I go and have my top up. So it's just always managing the client's expectations all the time. So maybe my staff member could have done better on that. Maybe not. I wasn't in the room to know how that consultation process went on. But I know she's a very, very good therapist, and she would have definitely have done the best that she could. And we're practicing a new treatment. So when you're practicing new treatments, this sometimes happens. Okay. Let me go over one last one. So my dear client I look after, Laura Bell, some of you might have heard from her. Check out her Instagram. It's Laura Catherine Bell. Let me read the photo. So you might have seen this on her social media because she actually posted it, and so many people had lots and lots of comments on there on how she dealt with it and how they would have dealt with it. So this is a good one for you. So someone had already booked in and they'd cancelled their appointment. So they've booked already a treatment and they've cancelled. So the client had said she'd spoken to her partner who thinks your prices are extortionate. I have also never been asked for a deposit. I've been to a hairdresser's in London. I have just had holiday confirmation anyway for that week, so I'm going to cancel on the 26th. So basically this client's husband or partner thinks the prices of Laura's salon are extortionate, and she's also not happy to pay a deposit. Now, Laura didn't reply, I don't think. I don't think she replied, and she just left it and then bye-bye. Obviously, she wasn't happy with what was left. What would you have done in this situation? Now, there's a few things that could have happened. You could either not bother and just think, whatever, move on, like Laura did, or you could respond back in a certain way. I don't feel like justifying prices is worth it. I would just not replied like Laura did. But if you do have different levels of stylists or different levels of therapist, you could come back and say, if you don't want to pay these prices of so-and-so, we do have apprentice prices at this price, if that helps, and try and rebook them in that way to save the client. So there's different options there. If you don't have different options of stylists and therapists, then obviously don't do that at all. And you can explain if you really wanted to, like, prices are high right now, but I just hate it when we have to justify why our prices are our prices. We've got overheads to deal with. I actually think that Laura done a breakdown on how much everything costs to like show the clients on socials, which is a really good way of doing it. But there's so much cost that comes into doing a haircut, doing a set of nails, doing a set of lashes that people have no idea, and it's really annoying. But why we keep justifying ourselves doesn't really make it better, because do people care? I don't really know. But sometimes when people leave reviews or they say about your pricing, you're then too scared to raise your prices even more, which then stops us raising our prices, which then stops us earning money, let alone then earning a profit. So we need to make sure that we are rising our prices and doing what we need to do for the business. Now, Laura had just raised her prices, so it could have given her a knockback, but it didn't at all, because she knows that there's hundreds of other clients out there that will pay these prices and that will respect these prices. So sometimes when you do a price increase and you might get a knockback, just stand firm. These are your prices. You're not doing this as an expensive hobby or something that's going to cost you. You're running a business, potentially have staff to pay and all of those things. So keep your head high when you rise your prices. And if you haven't done a price increase in the last 6 months, you're currently running at a loss. So if you are listening to this or watching this, you're like, I haven't done a price list in 12 months. It's not good. You need to make sure that you are doing your price increases. Think of it as inflation, okay? Every single year, everyone's wages raise. Minimum wage raises every year. Your gas and electric mostly raises every year. I'll be surprised if it doesn't. Your car insurance raises every year. Like, all these things raise, and it's like a natural thing that we have to cope with. But as those are raising, like so are our stock, rent maybe, all of those things. So if our prices then stay the same, we're making a loss. So if you have a team and they've had a price increase in April and they're going to have another one next April, but your prices stayed the same, it doesn't take a genius to work out that you're in less profit now if you haven't raised that price, because you haven't been able to cover their extra wage. So just think of your pricing is raising with inflation. And that's how you need to look at it, rather than a personal thing, because it's not personal. You're not raising your prices to be greedy. You're not raising your prices because you're like, oh, well, I fancy earning da-da-da-da-da. You're raising your prices because you have to. So yeah, just make sure that you are raising your prices. Another thing on this that I wanted to go on, let me get it up was deposits. So this client obviously wasn't happy that she had to pay, or he had to pay a deposit. Now, it's pretty standard in our industry about deposits. Those clients that we have let off paying a deposit are the ones that haven't shown up or have cancelled. We've actually got a client in our salon. Actually, I recently sacked her. And I sacked her from the business. And there was loads of reasons why. She was an extra complainer about everything. There wasn't anything or anyone that she was happy with, yet she kept returning. I'm like, why are you still returning if you're not happy with our service? I just don't understand. So every time she would book in, we'd be like, oh God, like what's she going to complain about this time? Which actually ended up costing us money as a business, because we've got a policy where if someone isn't happy with a treatment, we'll redo that treatment for free. And I've always done that for 15 years. If they let us know, obviously within a certain time frame. So we would keep redoing these treatments and be like, it's costing us money having this client in. But what happens is this client never wanted to book online because she didn't want to pay a deposit. So she used to call up and book. And if a treatment isn't a certain amount or worth a certain amount in my salon, we don't bother taking a deposit. But if it's over a certain amount, then we will take a deposit. So she would just book in for nails, for example. So we wouldn't bother taking a deposit. Whereas if she paid online, she would have to pay the booking fee. And she didn't want to do that. Why did she not want to do that? Because she was a mess around. That's why. If she knew she was going to turn up to her appointments, then she would have been quite happy to put in her card details, store them on our system, and just book online like everyone else does. But no, she would call up and she would get us to make her appointments for her, which is fine. Obviously, we have loads of clients that do that, and that's fine. But it's not because they don't want to pay the deposit. It's just because they prefer calling up. Like, that's absolutely fine. She didn't want to do it because she knew she'd cancel or not turn up or be a nightmare. So then we obviously enforce the fact that regardless if you book on the phone or online, whatever your treatment is, this is just for this particular client, you have to pay a deposit. And she did do it the last time that she come in, but she didn't like it and she kicked up a fuss of why does she have to pay a deposit? So we explained, because you keep messing around or you're cancelling or you're not showing and that type of thing. So she paid it. Then when it come to her next appointment, she then again didn't turn up, but she'd paid the deposit, and then she kicked up that she wanted the deposit back even though she didn't turn up for the appointment. So we banned her because we couldn't be dealing with it anymore. Sometimes you have to realise that there's a lot of clients out there. There's a lot of clients to be had. Lots of people think that there's huge competition and there's not enough clients, but there's enough clients to go around to every single person. And you have to remember that and believe that, and then the clients will come through. But what this also means is then you get to choose who you want as your client. You don't need to be that business that fears of, I need to do this because otherwise this client will leave, or I can't raise my prices because otherwise my clients will be disappointed and they might go to the person down the road, or this person always messes around but I'm just going to keep up with it because I need their custom, or a bit like my client, she doesn't want to pay deposits but she keeps messing around, and actually in turn that's costing us money. You don't have to live your business like this. You don't have to live in fear. Like, you can get rid of clients if you need to get rid of them. My famous line is to a client that I don't want to come to the salon anymore is, we're just not maybe the right salon for you. If someone's not happy or it's a constant battle where they're not following our policies or anything like that, that's the line we will use. That we appreciate your feedback or this and that, whatever the situation is, but maybe we're just not the right salon for you. And that's the polite way of being like, thank you, but no thank you, you're not welcome. We don't obviously use this a lot, maybe 5 times in the last 15 years. But we have had to use it. And it's okay to use it because you want to go to work and enjoy your work. You want to go to work and enjoy your experiences. You want your team, if you have a team, to not dread certain people coming in. Like, that's horrible. Or we've had people before that have had like sleepless nights before they come in because they're dreading the client that they've got that day. Like, that's not okay. There is lots of clients out there, so you don't have to worry about that. So you can say, this salon is maybe not for you, but not the right business for you. And another client will come that will respect your policies, that will respect your procedures, that will respect your booking deposits, that will respect that maybe you keep their card details on file. So then you can just work with the clients that you like and that you deserve. There is enough for all of us to go round. There is lots and lots of salons and that out there now. There's lots of home salons. There's lots of mobile people. There's lots for us because there's lots of business. Because there's enough to go around. Think of it like coffee shops. Starbucks and Costa. Normally you'll find them quite close together. If there's a Starbucks, normally there's a Costa nearby as well. Somewhere near me, they're next to each other. This isn't because they're necessarily in competition with each other. And it's because everyone wants coffee and they like what they like and they will have different ways about them. And it's the same when it comes to our businesses. There's lots of us because there's big call for this industry. So don't be afraid of doing what you need to do, or getting rid of the clients, or doing the price increase, or implementing the policies, because if one client goes, another one will come through that respects that. So that was my little rant for today. So I think that's all I will go through on people's problems or what they've occurred in their business. If you've got anything that you want me to shout out, then please send it through to me. If you've got any funnies, then please also send that through to me, because I like having a laugh and seeing what everyone else does. And yeah, we will do another one of these episodes in a few months' time. So thanks, guys. If you liked this, please share it on socials. Any feedback is always so appreciated. Obviously, we're in a new studio now, which I absolutely love. It's a completely different vibe. If you're still podcasting at home, if you're a podcaster, like, definitely get a studio. It is a game changer. But I hope you're liking the new setup and the new episodes. Let me know your feedback and I'll see you all soon.